Cool. We're gonna start, I guess. Take it right from the top. If I could go back further, I would, but I can't do that. Maybe if I move this over here, then I might be able to go a little bit further back, just like that. But this is in my way. Oh, this is in my way. All right. What is up, my planting people? My name is Lithius, and welcome to Roots Ready. I hope you guys are feeling the threads today. I found this at the back of my closet, and I was just like, you know what? I haven't put this on for a while. I'm feeling summery, the sun's out, so why not join in with the green theme today in line with a lot of the plants that I'll be showing you guys today. But anyway, enough about me. Today's video is about my May favorites. As I always say, I really love doing favorites videos because I just find that it's a great way just to appreciate plants. And there are some that are doing really, really well, but I've already recently showed them in my previous videos. So I can't show them again in good faith. But nevertheless, there are some stunning plants over here doing their thing, loving the spring vibes, the summery vibes. So I'm going to bring them to you, to your screen. And the first plant I'm going to be talking about is one I haven't spoken about for a long time on this channel. And that is, and bear with me, boom. All right, this is, it's even hitting the ceiling. This is my Monstera Peru, and what a stunner it is. Guys, I'm not gonna lie, I haven't appreciated this plant in a long time because of where it's situated in my room. It's actually behind my TV, and it was wrapped firmly around a moss pole, and I just thought to myself, no, what happened was when I went to water the plant last week, I noticed that the moss pole had snapped because there was so much growth on it. And I just kept wrapping it round and around and around and around. And it snapped, and I said, okay, cool. I'm just going to pull it out. And I had this thing here, this wooden plank sort of setup that I said, that was just sort of sitting there. So I thought this would be the perfect opportunity to put it on here. And guys, to my surprise, to my absolute surprise, when I unraveled this plant from that tiny moss pole, there were two main strands. There's about two other cuttings in there. So in total, there's about 4 cuttings in here, but 2 really long ones, which is what's going up and down this plank right now. They were about 3.5 meters each. Like, I kid you not. So I'm going to put this down for a while because it's a little bit heavy. I took one of the strands was longer than the other, and I wrapped it up the pole quite tightly. I wrapped it up, I wrapped it back down, and I wrapped it back up again. And that's the one that's literally sticking its head out over here. So that was really long. That one was damn near 4 meters long. Very, very long. And in the second one, I was able to wrap it up, down, and then it only got to halfway. And that one is one-handed. I'm holding it with one hand. Is this one right here. So that one made it halfway up the pole. So very, very long sort of strands here. And it's literally just sparked or reignited my love for this plant. I just love the really pillowy leaves on this plant. I just love everything about it. It's a really underappreciated plant up until now, I found. And it was also tucked away at the back, as I said, behind my TV. So I didn't really have the opportunity to look at it. But it's been a really amazing grower. I've got it primarily in a Coca-Cola mix with some lacquer on the top just for a bit of decoration. And I've now got this plant front and center at the front of my house. So as soon as you walk through that main door, you're going to be greeted by this plant. And my hope one day is to have this plant really just trailing all over the house, really, and just let it do its thing. Because it's been a really solid one as well. I think with this one, like most Monstera, you just have to make sure that you water it when it's dry. And feed it. This is a fast growing plant, so you want to make sure that you're feeding it at least once a month, at the very least once a month. I aim for twice a month with this plant. especially in the summer months when it's just growing and keeps growing and keeps growing. And if you have it right on the pot, on the moss pole, and have it growing up, your leaves will get bigger and bigger and bigger. So that's really exciting. Yeah, just an unusual plant. I wouldn't say it's a rare plant by any chance. In the UK anyway, I know other parts of the world, it very well may be a rare plant. But this one is quite accessible here to some degree. If you go online, you'll be able to find a few cuttings of them for under £10 for, you know, a single or 2-leaf cutting. So it's not too bad at all. Yes, I'm just really excited that I've reinstated my love for this plant. It's a great one. And especially with this setup now, it gives it space and room to grow. I'm going to pick it back up again. As you can see, there's still some gaps in the wood here. But as this plant continues to grow longer, I'm just going to keep wrapping it round and round. And eventually, I'm hoping that I can completely hide this wooden plank just in pure Monstera growth. How cool would that be? So that is the first plant. This is the Monstera Peru. An absolute stunning plant with amazing leaf and texture qualities. What more can you ask for? Next up on the list, and with a little bit of color, most of these plants, as I said, are green, which is the theme we're going for today. This is the Begonia Maculata. It's a angel wing variety. And me and this plant, we've been on a bit of a journey. I remember I got this plant as like a an option for free shipping, basically. This was before Brexit, right? And there's this amazing plant store called Plants, right? So creative name. It's spelled plants, but without the A. And it's a brilliant plant store, online plant store. I think they're based in the Netherlands or something. So I was ordering an alocasia dragon scale, and it wasn't quite enough for free shipping. And then this one, I was just like, you know, I've always liked the look of this plant. And it was really sort of a small, tiny cutting, like 1 or 2 leaves. So I said, okay, just chuck it in, and that way I'll get my free shipping. And I got this plant, and I had it growing for a little while, and it was doing fine. And then I decided to move it over to pond, a semi-hydro system, and it was doing all right until it wasn't. Started to decline a little bit. So I decided to put this back into soil. So it's been a bit of a back and forth journey with this plant. And I finally just decided, you know, soil is the best thing for this plant, because originally I felt that this plant needed a lot of water. It needed its soil to be kept damp. And that was just because I just, you know, didn't spend enough time researching this plant. But now I really understand it. I really understand its needs. And you can see by the size of these leaves, this leaf is bigger than my hand. It's huge. It must be 25 centimeters in length. So it's really big, and you can kind of see where where the care for this plant started to improve. And it's sort of everything under this leaf, right, is smaller leaves. And then once I started to understand the care for this plant, you can see where it's sort of sized up. And the reason why this plant is in my favorites rather for this month is because I recently repotted it. It was probably in about a 10 sort of centimeter pot, really small, really root bound, because the roots were coming out of the bottom of the pot. And I thought, you know what, it's time to transition it. I took it out, put it in this terracotta pot, and I'm I find that once you repot a plant, you reposition it, you just start to look at it in a new way. And I'm just really excited about this plant. And since doing that about 2 weeks ago, we now have some new leaves. So you can see this one here, where it's sort of a lighter green. So that one is now coming through. And on one of the other stems, we've got a tiny baby one over here. So that one's coming through as well. And there was another that I noticed as well today, but I can't point it out. Anyway, it's been a really sort of steady grower. And as I said, now I understand the needs of this plant. The fact that, especially recently, it's been really sort of growing really rapidly. I've increased the fertilization of this plant, especially for spring. I'm now upping it to about twice a month now, so every other week. It grows wildly as well. I've had to really try to secure it with a lot a lot of plant Velcro, plant tape, just to stop it from falling over and unbalancing itself. So this has been a great plant to look at, just to grow. Really an eye catcher, and why wouldn't it be, with these amazing polka dots on the leaves? Like, it's, oh, look at it, look at it. Oh, it's beautiful. Absolutely, absolutely beautiful. This is the Begonia Maculata. Up to this point, I've been picking up all of the plants, right? But this one, I wouldn't even dare. And that one is this one behind me over here. This one over here is the Ficus Elastica. This is the green form one. And it's huge. And it's heavy. And it's in pond with a reservoir. So I wouldn't even dare trying to lift this bad boy up. But the reason why it's on my list of favorites is because it's been doing great. In 1 month, each plant put out 2 new leaves. Can you see it? So you can kind of see they're still hardening off. So like the top ones over here are still hardening off, and the ones below are just, or they're not even completely hardened off yet. But it's been really appreciating summer. That's one of the things I really love about ficus trees, is once you give them enough light, they love bright light. You can even train them up to appreciate direct light. At the moment, I've got them in a east facing window, so they get a lot of morning sun, and they seem to really like that, and consistent watering as well. So they don't like their soils to go to be too moist, right? But they also don't like it to be too dry. So you have to kind of find that sort of, it's more, with these plants, I find that it's more about consistency above anything else. Because if you have consistent light at a particular time, they adjust to that. Like in the springtime, they have consistent light every day for a certain number of hours, and they will grow. They will love that, right? And they'll just continue to grow. But as soon as there's any shift, so as soon as you shift from summer to autumn in the UK, and the times change, or the days reduce, forget it, it won't grow for you. They're very stubborn like that. And with the watering, what I found with my other ficus, the fiddle leaf fig, was if I wasn't consistent in watering, I watered one, like on a Sunday, and then I started moving it back to maybe on a Tuesday, there's 2 days in between, it will stop growing as well. But once you keep on top of that watering, keep on top of that light, the plant will love you for it. And that's what I've learned with these plants. And that's why it's on my favorite list today, because we're now out of the winter months, we're into spring, into summer, and the plant has been doing great. I've just been trying to give it as much exposure to light as possible, also rotating it every week as well. So each side, there's 3 plants in here, 3 different trees, but making sure that each one has access to light. And it seems to be working, because they're growing and they're loving life, and it's in pond. Like for me, that was a big experiment, actually, having such a big tree in pond, and it's worked. It's worked for me. I'm really enjoying it. I just give it a reservoir once the water's completely dried out, and it seems to love that rhythm. So that's it. This is the 3rd plant on the list. This is the Ficus Elastica. I mentioned at the start of this video that there's a lot of green on this list today, and this plant right here is no different. I showed this in my recent Hoya video, then definitely go have a look at that to see what Hoyas I have in my collection. But this is the Hoya Finlaysonii. When I showed it in my previous video, which came out about a week ago or 2, these leaves were really tiny, just the smallest little things, and now they've hardened off and they look excellent. No imperfections on there at all. Look at that. I love it. I love this plant so much. The venation, the texture of the leaves, that sort of cardboard-like feel, and just the fact that it's a little bit wild. Like, it's not consistent with the amount of leaves. I would love it to have more leaves and more dense growth, but I kind of like the way it's sort of just spotted across. One of the things that I've really learned, and I think this was through the comment sections on YouTube, that I have another one that I kept trying to wrap the tendril around, and then once I did that, it would just stop growing and it would rather push out a new tendril. But one of you kindly sort of let me know that these plants prefer their tendrils to be facing up rather than having it down and wrapped around. So with this one, I followed that suggestion. I have it up like this, so it's resting against like a wall or something, and it's just up like this. So hopefully I can encourage some more growth out of this plant. But because I pulled it out, it's sort of just hanging over. But once there's a couple more, I might have to wrap it round again, and enough so that the end of the tendril could be facing up. But I'm just going to leave it like this for now, let it grow out a little bit more. But this plant has been a real trooper. I would say it's one of my easiest Hoyas to grow because it's in leca. I give it water. I give it nutrients every month, once a month, and it just does its thing. Since the time I've had this plant, this is the first time that it's ever lost a leaf. The very first time. The leaf is not even completely gone yet. So I've just left it there. But it's a really solid plant. I can't wait for it to grow peduncles so I can kind of see and smell what those flowers are like. There's no signs of any peduncle actually on its way. Just more leaves. But I'm not mad at that because I love the leaves. Like, I can't be mad at these leaves. Look at them. Oh, it's like a drawing. It's like a piece of art. It's unbelievable. I just wanted to bring this plant out again just to show you guys. Although I mentioned it in my last video, as I said, I just wanted to just give this plant its moment in the sun and give it its flowers, as they say. A beautiful plant, a beautiful example of a beautiful Hoya, the Hoya Finlaysonii. So we've reached the top of the mountain, the pinnacle of this video, and I've saved the best to last. My favorite plant for the month of May, and it could be no other but the one who wears the crown. This is the Queen Anthurium. Oh my days. So this is its latest leaf. Yes, it is damaged at the bottom, and the worst part is it's my fault. I have this plant in a really awkward position, right? So I've got it up again on the shelf, and there's plants next to it, right? And it's facing out, east facing window, right? So I was trying to reach over just to sort of look at the leaf and turn it towards me. And as I did that, I heard I was like, oh no. I ripped it. But anyway, that doesn't matter. It is still a stunning plant, and it warrants that title, that crown, the Queen Anthurium. The Anthurium warwickerianum is a beautiful plant. Anytime it gives me a new leaf, I have to appreciate it. And this is the fact that I've got this plant in outside of a greenhouse, growing on a shelf with the rest of my plants, in about the lowest that my humidity drops to is about 50%. But let's average it out at about 60% humidity. The fact that I've got this plant and it's able to keep pushing out these leaves of this consistent size, I couldn't be happier. And the fact that it hasn't dropped its previous leaf, there's no sign of yellowing. This leaf is still going strong. It's still a solid green color. I'm so excited because recently when other leaves came out, when this leaf came out, the other leaves fell off. When this one came off, I was sort of, I knew what this plant is like, so I was sort of not expecting, but I knew that there was a possibility that this leaf could then fall off. But this leaf is so beautiful. When this one came out, I tried to pull it back away from the window just to encourage that darker green, which was successful. This one, not so much. I sort of just left it in front of the window. And you can see the green is just a slight bit lighter, a little bit more lime green. And yeah, it's a shame that I've damaged it, but it's still beautiful. One of the things I've noticed with this one, if you look at the lobes over here, it's really small, really cute. But then over here, the lobes are a lot deeper, a lot more prominent. If I show you the back of the plant, it's more obvious to see it there. So I can see this is the old one, very small. This is the new one, a bit deeper. So that's one of the exciting things. That's one of the things I'm really looking forward to with this plant is those lobes. I have a thing for lobes, guys. I have a thing for lobes. I can't complain. Another thing, again, this was something that I've learned looking after this plant, is when it's growing a new leaf, especially when it's outside of a greenhouse, you want to keep the roots moist. You don't want it to dry out. You do not want it to dry out, because that's when the leaf struggles to unfurl. That's when it becomes damaged. That's when it becomes susceptible to, like this one over here, like holes and so on in the actual leaf, and that just sort of ruins the look of the plant ever so slightly. But it's okay. This plant is still hardening off, still getting there. I'm not going to touch it too much. I don't want to damage it any more than I already have. I'm just going to leave it as is, just going to let it, who knows? It's not the same length as the other one. So I think that might be something to do with the fact that I've broken it. So that might stall the growth. But I'm hoping that it gets a little bit longer, maybe about this size. And then I'm just looking forward to the next one. With each leaf that comes out, I'm learning, I'm adapting my care for this plant. One of the things I've learned with this new leaf is just leave it alone. Don't touch it. Just put it somewhere where you can sort of control the direction that the leaf grows in. That was one of the reasons why I put it in front of my east facing window, because originally this leaf was really growing out to the side. And I was like, no, that's not what I want. So I placed it and allowed it to naturally find the light so that all of the leaves can come down in one direction, because yeah, that would be a bit too much to handle. But yeah, it's been good. It's been a good month for this plant. I'm hoping that, before the summer ends, I can get maybe 2 more leaves, fingers crossed. That would be amazing, absolutely fantastic. And I'm just keeping everything moist, just trying to keep this plant as happy as possible. So yeah, that's it. This is the Queen Anthurium, a beautiful, beautiful, stunning plant. Definitely, the rarest one on this list today, rarest, quote unquote. But yeah, that you can see why it's an absolute stunner. I really do love this plant. Maybe one day I'll have a greenhouse large enough to house all of my plants, and then I know that I can have those large leaves. But for now, the plant is doing just fine without me. When I decide not to interfere with it, it's doing fine. But whenever I decide to touch it, that's when we get into problems. But anyway, this was it. This is the final plant on this list. This is the Queen Anthurium. Anthurium workianum, a beautiful, stunning plant. And no better way to end this list today. What a stunner. So there we have it. This was my top 5 favorite plants for the month of May. Let me know in the comments below which are your favorite plants, or which are your favorite sort of genus of plants for the month of May. Come hang out with me on Instagram as well. You can find me on @rootsready. I just love having conversations about plants and hearing about your experience and just sharing. That's what it's all about, guys. That's what we're here for. But thank you so much for watching, and as always, keep planting.